Good afternoon. It is just about 1:40 here on your Tuesday afternoon. I'm First Alert meteorologist Kyle Keel here in the TV6 Digital desk with an update on our First Alert Day, which continues here until about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight as we are tracking some potentially significant severe weather across the TV6 viewing area. In fact, just within the last half hour or so, we did get an issuance of a tornado watch until 9 o'clock for most of the TV6 viewing areas. So we'll get a look at that as well. But first, I want to give you an update on what's going on right now. We have no severe weather imminent as we take a live look at our First Alert Sky View camera. You can see that we do have a mix of clouds and sunshine. I'm looking outside of our window here at our studios in Davenport, and we certainly do see a little bit of sun out there, but it's one of those days where we don't really need a lot of sun to get things cranking as far as severe weather goes. But where we have had the sunshine, temperatures have really shot up here today. It's 86 degrees right now in Davenport and Moline, but notice where we've had some clouds, even some rain-cooled air off to our northwest. 68 right now in Maquoketa, 73 degrees in Galena. I have a warm front kind of set up here across that region, and that's going to set the stage for that potential of severe weather here as we head into the afternoon, because our dew points are also increased as well. Not only do we have mid to upper 80 temperatures, but we have dew points in the middle to upper 60s. So that's allowing that moisture to build that instability, and that is setting us up for a pretty dangerous environment for severe weather. So there's that PDS tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock. That should say 9 o'clock this evening for that potential for several tornadoes. We're also going to see that potential for damaging wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour or greater. And we also could see some large hail as well, because if any of these cells kind of break away from any lines that form, they could have that potential to build high enough to get that large hail up to the size of golf balls or larger. So that will be a threat that we continue to watch, but our main concern is going to be for the damaging wind as well as that tornado potential. So we'll continue to watch that here as we head over the next several hours. So the Storm Prediction Center does have us all under a level 4 risk, except for eastern portions of Bureau County, but the risk just doesn't really matter. It's the threats that we are most concerned about. So we're going to walk you through each individual threat here momentarily, but there's that First Alert Day until 11 p.m., but really it's by 9 or 10 o'clock that those storms are going to push off to our east. This is the potential to be a high-impact event across not only the TV6 viewing area, but much of the state of Iowa and into Illinois. So here are how things stand right now. Again, 1:41 in the afternoon. First Alert Live Doppler radar does show a few thunderstorms here off to our northwest, affecting portions of Cedar County, as well as Jones, Clinton, and Jackson counties. No severe weather associated with this, but these thunderstorms are producing some heavy rain as they continue to track off to the north and the east. So heads up Maquoketa, especially on the west side of town. You're likely getting in on at least a little bit of light rain right now. Just south of Anamosa, that's where we have a few lightning bolts, so likely hearing a little bit of thunder there as well. We'll watch these storms here as they're pretty close to that warm front, so if they do strengthen, they could potentially turn severe. But here's our setup. We have a very potent area of low pressure that is now crossing the Missouri River from Nebraska into Iowa, and along with it, we've got that warm front draped to the north, and then that cold front here to the south. So what's happening right now is we're seeing some storm development out ahead of that cold front. So I'm going to take the surface map off to show you that the Omaha Council Bluffs area just got slammed with some very strong storms. We've also had some tornado warnings out that way, and I'm going to take a quick peek at the radar on my phone just to see if currently that whole entire line is warned for severe weather. There is one tornado warning just to the south of the Omaha area that's radar indicated, but all of these storms have had the potential to produce some pretty sizable hail. So this was going to be the concern, especially initially, for these storms to have large hail up to the size of quarters or larger. So we're going to continue to watch this evolve here. Notice we're seeing some clearing skies out ahead of that in portions of central Iowa. So that's not good, because as those storms move into that environment, which is already favorable for severe weather, that sunshine is only going to add to it. So I want to walk you through each individual threat here. So I know this map looks very, very busy. We don't show this very often until we get kind of to the high-end severe weather events, but the moving dashed lines that you see, which essentially covers the entire map, that's where we have that potential for significant wind gusts. So normally on a quote-unquote normal severe weather day, we have that potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. This is a situation where we have a 45% chance, I should say a 30 to 45% chance of the potential for significant wind gust upwards of 75 miles per hour. So this is, at least 75 miles per hour. So we could see wind gusts up to 80 or 90 miles per hour at times. These are straight line winds that we're talking about. So notice that encompasses most of the viewing areas. So this is going to be our primary concern, along with that threat for tornadoes. So again, the dashed lines do indicate that we do have the potential for a few significant tornadoes. And we're talking about that probability of EF2 or stronger. So that's what we mean by strong tornadoes. Now, it's not going to be a line of tornadoes that moves through, but we need to watch each tornado warning that is issued here this afternoon, because the environment has a lot of spin in it and is favorable to produce a couple of strong, maybe long track tornadoes. So that's why that particularly dangerous situation tornado watch is in effect. So anytime we say PDS, that's exactly what we mean. It's a particularly dangerous situation. So you'll notice that we do have a 10 to 15% risk of that happening in our region as well. There's also that risk for some hail, especially west of the Quad Cities. You'll notice back toward the Des Moines area, just off the map, that's where we have the highest risk for some of that baseball-size hail. We're talking up to 3 inches in diameter. So that's going to be a concern here over the next few hours. As the storms do move eastward, hail will be a concern, but I think primarily it's the damaging wind as well as that tornado threat that we are closely monitoring here locally. So let's take a look at exact track. And just to forewarn you here, this is not exactly how things are going to play out. This just gives us a general idea. Our guidance, any guidance, really has not had a good handle on the convection or the thunderstorm activity that we've had around here this morning. I noticed at 1 p.m., they have the rain up toward Waterloo. That was happening a little farther off to the south and east. So it's not exactly going to be how it plays out, but it gets the general trend that we are going to see this line of storms develop here off to our west. So we'll take you through 4 or 5 o'clock. It's really 5 o'clock that we need to watch for those storms really forming that line to our west and moving into our viewing area. So our western counties, we're talking Henry County, Iowa, toward Mount Pleasant, Louisa County, Muscatine, Cedar County, up to Jones County. This is where we are going to start to see that line of storms move in. And notice ahead of it, we've got the sunshine, we've got those really strong winds. We also have strong winds in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere coming in different directions. So this is where we do have that concern along the leading edge of that line for those tornadoes to spin up. And again, a couple of those tornadoes could be on the stronger side given the environment that we're in, where we have just all of this instability. Our atmosphere is just juiced for the severe weather. So also with this line, this is where we are going to see those 75 to 80 plus mile per hour winds of potential. There are some questions on how this line structure holds together as it continues to move east. So we'll take you through 7 o'clock. Areas like Galena, Maquoketa, Clinton, the Quad Cities Metro, down toward Aledo, Monmouth, Galesburg. That's where that line of storms is going to be heading your way as well. And these are going to be moving very, very quickly. So if you get under a warning, you need to take action right now. Don't go look outside. Don't try to chase these storms because they are moving at a very fast pace. So this is where we are going to have that potential for those damaging to destructive wind gusts, as well as a couple of tornadoes. And pardon me, I do have to cough a little bit. Excuse me, I apologize for that. But you get the idea that these storms are going to continue east. Now, there are some indications that some of this might break up, and if so, that would potentially not take away the severe weather risk, but that could lead to a slightly elevated tornado risk if any of these cells can become a little more discrete or isolated by themselves. That would allow them to maybe produce a tornado. So that's going to be something that we continue to watch as well. By 9 o'clock, that line will mainly be east of the TV6 viewing area. But again, we're giving it a couple of hours of buffer depending on if these speed up or slow down just a bit. So that's going to be something that we continue to watch. And then as we head into the overnight hours, we'll see some strong westerly winds move in. That's going to allow for some cooler temperatures and a much quieter weather day here as we head into the day on Tuesday. So I'm going to pull up our website right now. Looks like we have a couple of closings and delays. I'm going to click that for you and see what's going on there. Pardon me. So yeah, you can see a couple of organizations have decided to dismiss schools early. That's the New London Community Schools, and then the government offices there in Burlington, the Civil Air Control, has decided to close early as well. So But any information that we have here, you can find on our website right at the top of the page, the first alert day. That's where we have this live video right now. It's going to continue to show the threat of severe weather here. We really go over all of the information that we have available for you within this First Alert Weather Day article. We'll be updating the video in there as well, but just know that things could go downhill very, very quickly here. It's just kind of a wait and see event that we have here locally. So I'm going to pull back up the severe weather outlook. Again, we are still under that level 4. That's a moderate risk of severe weather for the entire TV6 viewing area. And that particularly dangerous situation tornado watch, that PDS tornado watch, is in effect until 9 o'clock. I have to switch that on the graphic. It's until 9 o'clock this evening, where we are tracking that potential for several tornadoes. If I'm being honest with you, I think the highest threat of tornadoes is going to be the farther west you live, but we cannot rule out those tornadoes spinning up along that line as it approaches us here in eastern Iowa and western Illinois. Galesburg, Princeton, I know there's probably many of you who are watching. Just because you're not highlighted in this watch, it's a technicality. You're still going to get hit with this line of storms as it moves through. So we'll continue to watch that very carefully here in the TV6 First Alert Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland is back putting together the forecast. I'll have an update on TV6 a couple of times throughout Quad Cities Live at 3 o'clock, and then Eric and Teresa will be back at 4, 5, and 6 for continued updates. And obviously, as the severe weather moves in, we will be on TV6 wall-to-wall. We will be interrupting programming as necessary here this evening. And also, our wall-to-wall coverage will be seen right here on the live stream, on our YouTube page, as well as on our Facebook page as well. So we're giving you multiple opportunities to get to that life-saving information. Now might be a good time to maybe make sure your phone, tablet, wireless devices are all charged up in case you lose power during the situation, because again, we'll be on our news app as well, keeping track of this particularly dangerous severe weather situation. So for now, I'm meteorologist Kyle Keel at the TV6 Digital Desk with a severe weather update. We'll have more updates as needed, and please stay safe and keep an eye on the sky.